Ah, Australia. My beer drinking, sport loving, constantly on the lookout for any legitimate reason to take a day off work, fellow Australians. I absolutely love you. And I wanted to take a moment to congratulate you. Because the way you handled yourself over the last 2 years of COVID was the most Aussie thing I had ever seen. I mean, usually health isn't a huge priority in this country, isn't it? I'm pretty sure we're the fourth fattest nation in the world. You just have to go down your average street and see a man with man boobs and you realise that, health isn't hugely high on the list of things we need to take care of. Because we don't have time to look after our health. We're too busy thinking about two things. Firstly, we want to find out how to fit more beer, food and alcohol into our bodies. And secondly, we want to find out how to come up with another legitimate reason to take a day off work without getting in trouble. It's usually a pretty hard game to play, unless, of course, there's a pandemic. And to our absolute delight, Australia, now I know you're not supposed to admit it, but I also know how you feel. The last 2 years, we got one. And it was the first time in our lives we didn't have to come up with an excuse to stay home, eat, drink and smoke. We had one. More than just had an excuse. The leaders and the health experts of our country told us that we are in a health crisis and it is dangerous to others' health for us to go to work. And our big fat nation listened to these guys and we said, well, if it's for our health. But look, as we know, the health crisis, it wasn't big enough that everyone couldn't go to work. It was just some people couldn't go to work. The health experts, they had to shut down enough to show us that it was serious, but not enough that Aussies might get too angry. So the Aussie health experts had to ask themselves this question: what would a typical Aussie tolerate before they get mad? And if you had any doubt in your mind whatsoever that these health experts were Australian, let me show you once and for all they were, because they absolutely nailed it. They shut down our gyms, but not our bottle shops. You know why? Because they knew that Aussies had to stay hydrated. They shut down organic grocery stores, but they didn't shut down Bunnings. Do you know why? Because what's healthier than being able to build a shed? They told us to mask up in public unless you're eating, drinking, or smoking. How Aussie is that? They wouldn't let us go to the footy, but they would let us watch the good players play footy as long as at halftime they sprayed the ball and after the game they put a mask on because it's in the name of safety. It's keeping everyone. It's just going to keep you safe, that will. The fittest man in the world wanted to come in and play a little bit of tennis and we said, no, this guy is a health risk to our big fat nation. But next year he can come back because we don't want to sacrifice too much. We're just to sacrifice a little bit and then next year come back and play tennis because it's safer next year. They shot some lovely protesters in the street with rubber bullets because they didn't want to do lockdowns anymore because it's for our health. Rubber bullets are safer than COVID unless you're over 80, then they're both relatively dangerous. You probably should try and avoid both of them if you could. Beer companies started telling us to go and get the jab because that's where Aussies take their health advice. And we all know that our health is at the centre of the ethos of what it means to sell beer. But more than that, and beyond just health, it was the first time in a couple of years that Australians got to get back to their roots. We got to be able to legitimately tell someone to piss off based not on the colour of their skin, but on the contents of their hearts. But wait. We got to tell people to piss off once again, not based on the colour of their skin, but on the content of their blood. And what's more Aussie than being able to tell someone that we don't understand to piss off because we don't want them near us? It's been a wild ride, Australia, but we absolutely nailed it. Well, we nailed it in the sense that we didn't stop the spread or fix the economy or anything like that, but we got a couple of years off work, didn't we? We got to put our feet up and have a little rest. And what's more Aussie than doing not much at all and getting paid for it? While our health experts said, no, you stay home and look after your health, Muppets from around the world were saying, exercise, eat well, go and get some sunlight. And we said, hey, cancel them. They're anti-vaxxers. And you know why? Because we don't want to do those things. We want to stay at home and rest. Australia, as these voices start to rise up again saying, make sure you look after your health, let's make sure we don't listen to that. Let's keep listening to our health experts because they have our best interests at heart. And remember, they're now reminding you not to be an anti-vaxxer and your 5th jab is due in January. Stay healthy, Australia.